Hey, this is 76 Papa 10. Let's go to a subject that you guys might be interested in. Fleet managers. Well, Big D, I'm a new guy. What do you mean fleet managers? Dispatchers. Guys that route you or send you out on to pick up freight. They're used to be called dispatchers. Their actual title is fleet manager. If you ever have a problem with a fleet manager, try and work it out with him first. Some of these guys, they're pretty cool. They're just trying to do a job. The problem comes in is when you start refusing loads. Now, I'm not saying that you can't refuse the Northeast and things like that if you don't like running up in New York and Connecticut and Maine and Rhode Island and things like that. I understand. Those areas were never designed for trucks. I'm going to repeat. Those areas were never designed for trucks. They were built back in the colonial times. So when you're going through there, you're going to see things, especially if you're on the Pennsylvania Turnpike in certain areas or in certain U.S. highways, because you really should run the tolls up that way unless you really know what you're doing, because you're going to have, like, especially in PA, a lot of rolling hills up and down, up and down, up and down. PA is I will put it in and we're going to talk about that too, trucker-friendly, non-trucker-friendly states. PA is one of those states where it's limited on parking. You're lucky if you by a certain time you can get in there and get a parking space. If not, you're not going to get parking. And a lot of rolling hills. So if you're heavy, you'll have a lot of hard time pulling those hills. But they were built back in colonial times, and you're going to see bridges that you have to kind of stay dead center or away from. You can't just come down there and think you're going to drift off on the medium, because that bridge is low enough where it'll smack your trailer. But yeah, those states were built in colonial times, so they're real small up in there. You'll see if you ever go that way. But as far as a fleet manager goes, fleet managers have bosses too. If you need to get with your fleet manager and you're having a problem, you can go to the next guy, especially if you're on getting miles. They have what's called a planner. That planner will get you the miles, and then they both have bosses. Okay, so if you can't work it out, start there first. Use your chain of command. If it's something detrimental, you can't really work it out with your fleet manager, take it up with his boss. He's there. A lot of them, they have a policy of, I don't answer the phone unless it's important, because they're busy. And let's stop with the open door policy with these companies, fellas, especially you owners. I'm talking to you. Coming from an old school trucker. A lot of their open door policies are, and I think what it is with the open door policies is, when you make a certain amount of money, everybody forgets where they came from. And I'm talking to all y'all majors. You know who you are, because I know all of you. Some of you have passed away, but that open door policy doesn't fly because too many people abuse it. I know that's one reason. So when you see the open door policy, it ain't an open door policy. Let's just say that. If you're watching, Big G just told you, bosses. So when it comes to the fleet manager, the way they dispatch you is they're going to see how you run. They're not just going to give you the top choice loads in the beginning. You're not going to get the steak. You're not going to get the ribeye and the New York strip. Or the porterhouse or the T-bone. Now you may get around, but you're not gonna get the top choice loads. Those guys that are getting it, you may think, oh man, that's his favorite. No, it ain't. What it is he's trying to see how you run. He's trying to see how you do, because they want to see if you're a guy that just refuses loads. It's understandable with certain loads, but if you just keep refusing loads, that's usually what slows you down, because fleet managers will put you on a load that has to go a certain place, and you may think, damn, that didn't pay nothing, but what that is that he's putting you in an area, what we call freight lanes. A freight lane is where the freight is, most of the freight, and once he gets you in a freight lane, boom, you're rolling. But that's what a freight lane is, basically moving you from one area to the next. It may be short miles, it may be long miles, but you're being moved to what we call a freight lane. Remember that word, freight lane. Once they find out how you run and you're in a freight lane, or you don't refuse loads, or you take that load and you move to the next lane, then he can work with you, because he's also, a lot of them are getting a few cents off of what you run. So don't think they're just there to harm you. A lot of them are not. A lot of them are good. A lot of them are bad. That's within the industry. Some guys are bad because they're brand new. Some guys are good because they've been there a while and they know how to do it, what they're doing. So, and if you have a problem with the fleet manager that basically you can't work out, you guys have just come to a standstill, you can always change your fleet manager. Remember, you heard what I said. You can always change your fleet manager. Your company is not there to hurt you, but to help you. They're making money just like you're making money. So that's the purpose of it. Another thing I was going to touch on is what they would call friendly and non-friendly truck states. Now, I was watching a couple of videos where the guy was parked on the side of the road in Virginia. Virginia is not a trucker-friendly state. I don't care what people say. There's not a lot of truck stops up that way. It was also built in colonial times. So what was it, 13 colonies or 13 states? It's not designed for trucks. A lot of guys, you'll hear them, I don't run New York. That's why you'll see in a lot of company ads, they say no New York City and no forced dispatch. What is forced dispatch? That's when you have to run what they tell you, but they'll also tell you we don't run the East Coast. East Coast is a little funny. You know, you got those boroughs up there in New York. Rhode Island, Connecticut is right above it. And when it comes to parking, most of the parking is in areas such as, what do they call it? Those little food courts and things like that. So, but, I thought I would touch on that. Another non-friendly, we call them non-friendly trucking states. California is another one. I'm sorry, born and raised, but California is not a trucker-friendly state. Why? Because the speed limit through there is variable. For trucks is 55. Okay, they want you to fuel in there, and then they also used to have a problem with idling. If you idled in California, unless you had an APU, if you were caught idling and you were given a ticket. I'm sure the law has not changed. They're trying to be CARB compliant, let's just say. Let's see. California was non-friendly for trucks. Even though they have a lot of truck stops, they're still non-friendly. Certain states you go in, is going to require a permit. I.e., one state I can think of is make sure you take a camera and snapshot your license plate, tractor and trailer. The reason being because with certain states such as Arizona, which I found to be trucker friendly, anything in the mid United States, Texas trucker friendly, Tennessee trucker friendly, anything mid Illinois trucker friendly. You usually can tell because there's a lot of trucks in there. They're moving freight through there a lot. And that's another thing. You can always tell when you're in a freight lane because you're going to see a bunch of trucks. I'm talking about a lot, more than you've ever seen. That's a freight lane. Illinois is friendly. I found Wyoming to be friendly. is mainly when you start heading to that western seaboard or the eastern seaboard. You're gonna find it. Eastern seaboard is I wouldn't really call it friendly. It's just the limited parking, limited. The west, yeah, you'll find out. But this was about saving you money and try to give you the information. If you run those areas. But yeah, with Arizona, like I said, you're gonna need your plate to go in there to fuel. So take a picture of your front truck license and also your trailer license, because I forgot which one it is, either tractor and trailer or just tractor. Another 4 states I'm gonna name. Kentucky, you need a permit going in there. Make sure you get one because they will flag you in the scale. You don't need no more headache than you got. New Mexico, same thing. They're gonna weigh you when you pull through there. New Mexico is cool. It's a trucker-friendly state. They will. You'll need that New Mexico permit, or you'll have to pay for it at port of entry. We call them port of entry, chicken coop scale, but same thing. Oregon is not a trucker-friendly state. The thing about Oregon is when you pull in there, if you're overweight in Oregon, you can almost guarantee they're going to flag you. But you must have a tax permit in Oregon. Also with Oregon, you're going to need your IFTA number, because that's how you fuel in Oregon. That's how they're set up. But you're going to need that Oregon permit as a tax permit, or they make it look like you're evading taxes. Another state that you're going to need that permit, Washington. Not Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, but Washington State, right on that western seaboard, like I was telling you. You will need a permit going in there too. So Oregon, you need a permit. Washington, you need a permit at port entry. Kentucky, you need a permit. These are all special permits besides your cab card that you have in the truck. Another one, let's see, Oregon, Washington, you need one. Kentucky, you need one. New Mexico, you need one. There was one more state that I can't think of that you need that permit that when you first go in there. But yeah, that's the problem with that situation. Those are what you call your non-friendly trucker states. The ones that I named, not the ones for the permit. If they were in there with the permit, then yeah, they're trucker non-friendly. What else did I need to touch on? Let me see here. Oh, another thing. If you guys don't handle your business during the day, and this goes with the brokers too. A lot of the brokers are single broker companies, meaning there's just one guy that's running his own company, his own brokerage. The majors, they usually have some place. TQL is very good. But what happens is if you need a lumper check, or that's why you see some guys still sitting at the shipper because they didn't get the lumper check when they should have. But a lot of times they have to wait till 8, 9 in the morning to get that check. So they can get their paperwork, because them lumpers will not release your paperwork unless you have that EFS or however you're paying for that lumper fee. But take care of all your business during the day, because I can guarantee you, if you call that brokerage or you call that night dispatch, you're going to have a lot of issues, because a lot of them don't answer the phone, and a lot of them are shorthanded at night. They're not putting a full crew on at night. So when you call in there, you might get somebody on the phone. You may not get somebody on the phone. I don't care if they tell you, well, this is our night dispatch number. That guy's probably in their sleep. He's not answering the phone. I've run into that on many occasions. So I thought I would just put that out there for you. What else did I need to touch on? Let me see. I missed something. No, I don't think I did. But yeah, anyway, so I thought I would touch on that, fellas, and give you some kind of insight. Like I said, I'm here to save you money. and the content is going to also be fresh. So like and subscribe, man. Give me some thumbs up, you know. But yeah, you know, those things, those are some of the things that you guys need to know. This 76P10, better known as old school, also Big D. I'm signing off, y'all. The early morning video. Take care.